Hey Cyclopians, it's June 19th, 2018, and we are getting right into the latest sci-fi, fantasy, and horror news. Going straight into comic books, Catwoman vs. the Joker in preview of Batman number 49. Be sure to get that one if you are following the DC line. Magic the Gathering has a strategy article out. The top 5 control decks in Modern is the title of the article, and they got great little articles, and a lot of times they got videos, and you can go to this link and click. If you click on this little link, you'll see a whole mess of articles for Magic the Gathering, for strategy, and also for Yu-Gi-Oh! And they do come from TCG Player Online, and yes, I am affiliated. I do have friends and family in that company, so I just want to put that out there so nobody thinks I'm trying to pull a fast one. It is a great little site, and they do a great job of the Magic Gathering and trading card game articles and decks and things. So do check it out. It's a great little site. Heading over to more video game news. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night gains 16 minutes of gameplay. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to take a look at that or if they just added another 60 minutes. I'm not really sure what's going on with that one. If you Bloodstained Ritual of the Night fans, jump on that and find out. Let me know if you do see. I have not had a chance to check that one out yet, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting. Moving to horror now. The Walking Dead. John Bernthal is going to return as Shane in season 9, and it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of news on this. This little piece is all over the place in horror sites and even some of the sci-fi and the general nerd and geek sites today. And I don't know. I'm a little surprised because a lot of the stuff I've been seeing about Walking Dead is that people are going to are bailing on the show, and it's kind of drawing to a close. And now all of a sudden this John Bernthal news is like a big deal, like almost like they're trying to give it a shot in the arm and get it back to life. I have nothing against The Walking Dead. I think it's a great little horror soap opera, really. I've always been fascinated by The Walking Dead, how they've been able to keep that thing going as long as they have. It's interesting in the sense that the zombies, which were primarily, they were like the stars in the original, are no longer the stars. It's the real monsters are the people. And the zombies are just background noise, so it's really kind of like a horror soap opera. So if you're still following that, John Bernthal is coming back. And for you who like to read, like me, there's a review out right now of a historical fantasy novel called The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, set in China. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I have seen mention of this book in one or two other places in the past, so it looks like it's starting to make waves. That's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And of course, everything I talk about here, you can click on the link right in the, if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see the link with all or just go to Sci-Clops.com, and we'll have the news items all there with all the little links you can click on. Board games, interesting little article I found today. 5 vintage horror board games that should be brought back from the dead. I took a look at some of these. One of them is the Alien board game, probably from like 1981 or 82 or something like that, and I kind of gotta disagree. I think some of these old board games were really crappy. They were just the same old thing. Little pieces in a board where you went around in this direction or you went around in that direction and you rolled some dice and then you went back around in this direction or you got knocked out or whatever. Like, whatever. I'm not too into vintage board games. I mean, there's a vintage board game thing has been done. It like the idea is there, but there's really not much that really, there wasn't a whole lot in my opinion. There was maybe 10 or 15 really cool vintage board games that were different from each other. But after that, it was just kind of like copying each, the main layout of one particular style of board game and then slapping a big name on it, like the Knight Rider board game or the V board game or the My Little Pony board game or whatever. It was just the same old thing with just new characters added, new colors. You just kind of roll the dice and go tick 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 down the board, and that was it. And it was kind of like, oh, okay. But lately, board games have become just fascinating. Really cool pieces and really cool ideas and very complex and very intricate. So I'm not beating up on board games. I love board games. I just don't really know why you'd bring some of these old board games back. Anyway, that aside, there's a new psychological horror movie called Undertow. For those of you horror fans want to add this to your collection, check out the preview clip. That's going to be coming out very soon. The clip is out now, of course. The movie will be out very soon. And, I got a really cool one here. If you have not had much time to follow the E3 conference, there's a a link here I put up when all of the games of the E3 2018 are going to be coming out. So that's kind of cool because, I mean, the E3, of course, is fascinating. It's electronics, and it's got games, and it's got this and that, but it's the devil to follow. I mean, you got stuff coming out all over the place. So if you can just get like, oh, I just want the games, and I just want to know when they're coming out, here's the link. And that should be really useful for you gaming fans. Power Rangers fans. Power Rangers fans they're so devoted to the Power Rangers. Very interesting how loyal they are to the series. And right now, the Power Rangers fans are raising money to help Lord Zed actor Robert Axelrod. They're helping him raise money after surgical complications. So if you want to get in on that, click on the link and see how you can, send money. I don't know if it's a GoFundMe or what it is there. But let me just check and see where that's located. That's coming out of sciencefiction.com, but at the moment I don't have info on where that's. You'll see it when you go there. It might just be a GoFundMe. But anyways, you can help Robert Axelrod pay for probably an outrageous medical bill. And with more video game news here really quick, jumping back into video games, FIFA 19. Confirmed changes and improvements are coming, which is probably a great time to announce it during the World Cup. So it's, of course, one of the biggest games going, and probably the number one game right now. In fact, I could take a look real fast and tell you, if I could just find the link. I have a great link of all the hottest video game charts and whatnot, and I will tell you in a minute once I get the darn. There we go. We're clicking on it right now. And the video game, oh no, it's not FIFA. I thought it was going to be FIFA. It's God of War, of all things, right now. The hottest video game in the world, with 339,411 units moved this week, or as of, oh God, it looks like actually, I apologize. It's June 2nd, as of June 2nd. So, that looks like, it's a little bit old, but they got to wait. It's always going to be 1 or 2 weeks old as they wait for all the numbers to come in. So it's probably going to be FIFA for this week. It's just they haven't got those numbers out yet. But as of a couple weeks ago, it was God of War, and then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and then Far Cry 5. And some interesting, it's always cool to see which are the hot games coming out right now. Jumping back into more news here with Harry Potter. Remember a little while back we were talking about Warner Brothers had shut down one of the Harry Potter festivals. I can't remember where that was. It was in one of the previous podcasts. But apparently they're getting everybody upset because they're coming out gangbusters and shutting down Harry Potter festivals all over the place. And I know where I live, there's a really big one about 40, 50 miles south of here. And everybody, I didn't even know about it till just recently, last couple years. It's a really big one. I mean, like 30,000 people or more going down there, and it's all Harry Potter, and they're walking around the streets. All kids are dressed up, having a great time. I'm going to be really curious to see if Warner Brothers shuts this one down, and I'll keep you posted if they do, and I'll let you know where it is and all that hoo-ha. But right now I would assume they're going to, unless you pay some stupid outrageous licensing fee or something, which I think is dumb. I understand that Warner Brothers needs to control the licensing and all that, but I've always kind of had a Grateful Dead mentality, coming from a big music background. I've always felt like bands like the Grateful Dead, who allowed their fans to come in and record everything and do whatever they wanted, were smart. While they never probably charted massively on albums, they had a very loyal fan base who followed them everywhere, and of course they had a huge cult following as Deadheads, and and to this day they're still huge. The Deadheads still have all the tapes and all the shows, and let the people get this. Don't be so darn greedy. But I understand also on the the flip side that you don't want people running riot with your licensed stuff that you put up maybe $1 billion for to put all together and have all kinds of licensing and attorneys and problems. So I just wish there could be a solution found for this, but hopefully Warner Brothers will sit down and come to their senses with this, because it looks like they're starting to really piss the fans off. Anyway, moving on to some more movies. Shazam trailer rumored to debut at San Diego Comic-Con. I am totally not excited for this, because I have seen some pictures and they look terrible, and the movie looks ridiculous. And I know I'm beating up on Shazam here. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised with a change of heart. But and also Zach Levi or whatever. It looks like he's fighting with fans on Twitter or whatever he was doing there. It just doesn't look good at all. So this will get a definite where this movie is going to be headed once this trailer comes out, if it does indeed at San Diego Comic-Con. It'll either push the movie into the theaters, or it'll be the death knell for the movie right there. So it better be darn good, because a lot of people are really talking smack about Shazam right now. And I don't want it to do bad. I really don't. I always want superhero movies to do great, because the more they do great, the better we all do. It means more superhero movies and more cool material coming out. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to just be a fanboy for one thing or the other or anything like that. I'm just saying that what I've seen so far does not look very good at all. And also the PR around this thing does not look very good, and the way it's being handled is very poor. That being said, let's jump over to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. There's a rumor there that says it may take place in the past, so we'll have a prequel instead of I don't know what that's going to be about, but we'll see. Could be kind of cool. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. Always been a big fan of that now. And comic books again. Stranger Things comics are coming from Dark Horse this fall. Now, I remember in a previous podcast, I had said there was going to be some Stranger Things books, I believe, where they were going to actually talk about Eleven's mother, and that was going to be, I think that was going to be canon material, and now they've got comics, so I'm curious to see if they're going to have the kids going on more adventures, or what's going to happen. Is it going to be prequel, or is it going to be another person in the Stranger Things universe, maybe in that town doing something, or, maybe they're going to go back to the weird Department of Energy lab, or what are they going to do? So it'll be really cool to see what they do with that coming this fall. Anime fans, Dragon Ball seems to be somebody's putting up a trial balloon here. Should Dragon Ball develop more spin-off anime? That's comicbook.com asking if you think they should. And Dragon Ball is a massive fan base, so click on that. You can maybe even answer them. Maybe even get in there in the conversation or the comments and respond and say, I'm sure whoever runs Dragon Ball, whether it's Funimation or Crunchyroll or whatever those guys, will want to know that. And back over to video games really quick. The Wolfenstein brand, the Wolfenstein Youngblood could come to Switch. Generally, anytime I see something may come to Switch, it means it's going to come to Switch, because Switch is just gangbusters right now. And I remember when it started, it was like a handful of games where we were kind of like, I hope this thing works. And now it's got like a zillion games coming in. So everything seems to be going to Switch. I wouldn't doubt for a minute the Wolfenstein Youngblood will come to Switch. But anyway, if you want to click on that link, it's got some details for you to take a look at. And new Wonder Woman 1984 set photos have appeared. More of really Gal Gadot working on the set and being held up by strings and all that stuff, like blue screen or green screen or whatever. But it's still pretty cool. Kind of give you an indication of what the costumes look like and maybe what who she might be fighting or whatever. Really quick, back to video game news again. GOG, G-O-G, GOG Video Games has sales with up to 66% off. Click on their site. They've got a zillion games on there. They've always got huge sales. I've seen them with sales up to 90% off. So they've always got a great deal every single day. So if you just want to check on there right now, if you're looking for some new games to play. Running back to comics, Nightwing and Titans both go twice monthly now at $3.99 an issue. That's a good sign. If Nightwing and Titans are both going twice monthly at $3.99 an issue, that means the Nightwing movie has some, is going to breathe some life into a real possibility of moving that movie forward faster. Because if you remember one of the previous, just a podcast or two ago, we were saying that Nightwing had found Nightwing. They found someone to do Nightwing. So hopefully this is really going to push things forward. If they see that there's a lot of interest generated, that they've actually had to print the issues twice a month now at $3.99, people are buying it up, so people are going to want to see a movie too. Star Wars, there's a big rumor of somebody returning in Episode 9. I'm not going to say who it is, and I had suspected this for quite a while, though, but I think you have a pretty good idea who it's going to be. It's not really that big of a surprise if you think about it, but if you want to know, click on the link. If you don't go anywhere near that link. Don't even click on it. Just even highlight it, because it'll tell you. I've noticed in the address, it does mention the name or names of it or them or an agency or group. I'm not going to tell you what it is. So anyway, jumping from Star Wars to Predator in the sci-fi world, I'm really excited about the Predator movie. I'm more like just crossing my fingers on this one. I've seen the trailer. How do I say this? I'm excited for a new Predator movie, but I'm not excited about all the stuff I'm seeing. It looks Well, I'm crossing my fingers. How about that? But I'm excited because I love Predator, and I just hope it does well. And this has got an interesting article here. I got a little link to it. 8 reasons you should be excited for The Predator. So hopefully we'll have a good movie, and hopefully it won't bomb, and hopefully it won't kill the franchise the way the last 2 or 3 Aliens did, or the last 2 or 3 Predator Aliens, whatever they were. So if you're playing any Dungeons and Dragons, here's if you want to have a little fun, there are Dungeons and Dragons stats sheets for famous cartoon characters, and the example they got in the article right at the top is Daffy Duck, which is pretty hysterical. Strength, intelligence, wisdom, constitution, charisma, and dexterity for Looney Tunes characters. I can't wait to see what they do with Elmer Fudd, or maybe like Marvin the Martian and stuff like that. Or even, it doesn't even have to be those. You could take a lot of characters. That reminds me of something I want to tell you guys. If you ever want to get some really cool Dungeons and Dragons monsters, or some really neat articles, go online to I don't know where else you could find it, but I'm just saying, try eBay for starters, and you can get old copies of Dragon Magazine, and they had really cool stuff back in the day. They would have a featured monster, a new monster, and sometimes they would have articles where they took a famous character from science fiction, fantasy, or horror, and they actually made a real character, or they actually did stats for that character. I remember the one I had in one of my issues, which I don't know where it is today, it's buried in some box, was Conan. And they actually had Conan as I think it was a fighter thief mix, and what level he'd be, and the special characteristics he'd have, and it was really neat to see. So you can really take a lot of characters from sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, and actually kind of include them in your game, or just have a lot of fun with it. That's what I love about Dungeons and Dragons. It just has an infinite chance to expand in any direction you want. You can do so much with it. But enough of that. We're going to jump over to horror again. You collectors are going to love this. Remember a few podcasts ago when I told you I had that? I saw the guy who had that really cool horror man cave, and he had filmed it, and I regret that I didn't save whoever it was. I wish I had saved that and put that up for you guys. I never could find it after that, and I did try looking, but I couldn't find him anywhere. He had a man cave, and he'd just finished it, and he filmed it, and he was coming down the stairs, and he had glass display cases and beautiful posters and racks of movies, and a big giant sitting room, not giant, I mean like a couch with a giant screen, and a life-size zombie. He was a horror fan. And he'd made a horror man cave. Well, here's something he can add to it, which is new Dream Warriors Freddy Krueger NECA figure. I hope I said that right, NECA or NECA, and it's the Dream Warriors. If you remember, who did the soundtrack for that? Dokken, or they did at least the main song. It was a great little tune back in the day, if you remember your big hair bands. Jumping into some more horror, there's a little article here, how Halloween will handle an aged Michael Myers. I put a typo in there. It's supposed to be an aged Michael Myers. I was thinking of that myself, because in that trailer you can see him from the back when they're talking to him in the prison. But I'm kind of wondering, how old is he at this point? I mean, he's kind of like an old man. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. How this older guy is going around killing everybody again. And jumping into Friday the 13th now, there's a not really Friday the 13th, but Friday the 13th style. Friday the 13th meets Mean Girls in Fat Camp Massacre. For those of you who have a little bit more, a little bit more lighter fare in your horror, check that one out if you want to click on it. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And for those of you who never want to swim again, there's new footage from shark horror movie The Meg. That looks like fun. I gotta say, the trailer on that really impressed me, because they took what would otherwise be a really crappy movie, not crappy, but a B movie, and it's kind of goofy and probably wouldn't have made it past who knows what, not many sales, and they slapped some humor on it, and they put a great soundtrack in it, and they made it funny and spooky at the same time. And the way they're marketing that thing in the theater, I'm seeing people's reaction, because I've been to the movies a lot lately, and I'm seeing people's reaction is pretty good. I expect this movie to do pretty well. It's a silly movie, but it looks like it's going to do really good. Jumping really quick into video games again, we got World War Z. World War Z pits players against 500 zombie swarms. That'll be interesting to see. Just be a shoot-a-thon. Just pull out your big guns and blast everybody. And we're going to wrap up with some comic books, the way we opened up with comic books. I've got a link here for the full DC Comics September 2018 solicitations. I can't say that 3 times fast. So you can click on that, find out all the latest comics coming out for fall, and you can get your money, say, break open your piggy bank and buy every single one of them and support them all. In the meantime, I will keep looking for more news, and we'll see you as soon as possible. Have a great day.